Arguably the most enthusiast-driven Honda of all time, one of the brand's only front-engine, rear-wheel drive cars. Today, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the iconic Honda S2000. The S2000 was produced from 1999 to 2009, which is interesting because I think to most of us, we think the car had a much shorter production than that. In 1995, the SSM concept was first shown, which later turned into our production S2000. And to touch on what S2000 stands for, it literally means S for sports and 2000 for the 2-liter engine. Officially, there are two chassis variants of the S2000 that look very similar, the AP1 and the AP2. The AP2 boasted changes to the engine, suspension, transmission, interior, and a slight facelift and changes to the rear. A fun fact of the S2000s back in the day that it had 124 horsepower per liter, which was the most of any naturally aspirated car at the time. Let's start off by highlighting the AP1, which was made from 1999 to 2003. The engine powering the AP1 was the high revving 2-liter F20C, which produced 237 horsepower or 247 horsepower and 153 or 161 foot-pounds of torque, revving to 8,900 RPMs and can easily be tuned past 9,000. Why do I say 237 or 247 horsepower? This is because North America had a detuned engine, and Japan got that 247 horsepower. But to be honest, the S2000 feels like a car that would have missed North America entirely, so we have to be happy we even got them. The S2000 also achieves a 50-50 front to rear weight ratio, which further proves that the S2000 is such a driver's car. The dash on the S2000, maybe just the interior in general, is one of the greatest ever. The dash is inspired by McLaren Honda F1 cars of the 80s and 90s, referring to their high revving engines. An electric soft top roof was standard on the S2000. It is a convertible after all, I forgot to mention, but I honestly prefer the aluminum hardtop. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh, Now over to what I believe is the more desirable S2000, the AP2, which I mentioned earlier had changes like shock absorber dampening and spring rates, carbon fiber tranny synchros, a more rigid subframe, new front and rear bumpers, and new LED taillights. Those are sick, by the way. In non-North American markets, Honda designated these changes as just a facelift to the existing AP1 and didn't change the powertrain. But in North America, we got what's called the F22C1, which is a 2.2 liter and had a redline cut and fuel cut to 8,000 RPM and 8,200 RPM. Peak power output stayed the same, but this new engine reached the peak power quicker, yet not revving as high, resulting in slightly faster acceleration. Folks, it's not all about peak power. Torque gains and where you make that power is what really matters. A lot of people miss that about cars. In 2006, this larger powertrain made its way over to Japan, and in 2006, drive-by-wire throttle and electronic stability control were added. I want to highlight one last model, and that is the 2008 Honda S2000 CR, or Club Racer. This was supposed to be the most track-oriented S2000 yet, with reduced weight, less daily driver amenities, a lower ratio steering rack, and even more stiff suspension. A revised body kit was added to the new CR, which gave a significant boost in downforce, thanks to the new front lip and rear spoiler. The hardtop was now standard compared to the usual soft top, and additional chassis bracing was added to where the soft top would normally fold into. The shifter in the CR was lower, shorter, and more raw, which means it was better. The coolest interior part of the CR has to be the peak power indicator light. That is so cool. What the heck, man? Peak power indicator light? Oh man, that just makes me squeal, man. Oh my gosh. By the end of production, there was only 699 CRs ever produced, making this an absolutely desirable car, as if the S2000 wasn't already. The S2000 lives on as one of Honda's greatest models ever. Some might say the best ever, but I think the NSX has something to say about that. You could even say the Honda Civic does, because the Honda Civic is super iconic. Yet the S2000 is the perfect Honda track car, Honda drift car, and Honda street car all in one. The S2000 really does it all. Aftermarket support is absolutely endless, with support for all naturally aspirated builds, turbo builds, and supercharged builds. You can just do anything. You can case swap S2000s. I've seen it done on YouTube. Look at Evan Shanks. Let me know in the comments below your stories on the S2000, and if you own one, I'd love to hear about it. VTEC at 9,000 RPMs will always be a passion of ours, and the S2000 is the dream candidate for a lot of us. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. May the S2000 live on in all its glory. Once again, thank you for watching, and peace.
You wanna